So let's go into this reading here. And first things first, what we have here is the Fool in the reverse. And this is, doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting different results. Okay. And I'm also feeling as well, let me talk about this in terms of like experimentation. This is not a month for us to kind of like shirk responsibility or, take risk. Okay. This is a month for us to be a little bit more conservative when it comes to the choices that we make, the risks that we make, how we want to kind of like follow the herd, and we want to also conduct ourselves in a very conservative manner, err on the side of caution, be a little bit more careful about what we're doing, not take risks, and especially risky ventures, risky avenues are not really going to pan out for you. It's linked up here with the Hierophant, and the Hierophant, first of all, indicates like actions and consequences. It's about, things that have already been tried and true. Whatever is not broken, don't try to fix it. And whatever, this is not really like the month for us to be thinking outside the box and trying to get other people on board with new plans, new ideas, new projects, mainly because you're going to be faced with a lot of resistance, and people are resistant mainly because the energy of this month, we do have a Mercury retrograde, and it's going to be, it starts on the December 2nd, and it's going to run throughout December until the 23rd. And so this is not the month where, we can say like, oh, let's wing it. Let's not, let's cut corners and be okay. I feel like you have to err on the side of caution. You have to do things in a very methodical, well planned out manner, and planning, having a blueprint, having guidelines, checking things multiple times and redoing things, and especially following stringent guidelines and protocol is going to be very, very crucial for you. Do not cut corners. And I also feel there's a lot of movement in this spread. There's a lot of movement happening from your end. And because of that, I want to say as well, be careful about driving, be careful about traffic, be careful about moving violations, and be careful about, just aim to slow down, aim to obey traffic signals, and aim to not have anything in your car that's not supposed to be there. If you have children, make sure they are properly strapped in for their safety, please. So I feel like there's a lot of movement here, and I feel that it needs to be done in a well thought out, in a tried and true manner, in a conservative manner, so that we're not breaking any protocols, we're not breaking any rules. And I feel like this is something that needs to happen as well in your work environment. Okay. What I'm also feeling as well with the Hierophant card, this is a card about family. This is a card about, family tradition. They say as well, some of you grew up or have a non-traditional family. So there might have been, co-parenting. There might have also been like step parents, step siblings, stepfather, stepmother, whatever the situation is. I feel like it's not a traditional family structure where there is like, mom, dad, 2.5 children, car in the garage, white picket fence. I feel like it's a very, very non-traditional family. And so your time, if you are gathering for the holiday season, your time is divided between all these different family units. You are as well pulled into different directions, because one person might want to, have the gathering here, and the other person, like, for example, if you have siblings, they might have their own families and they want the family gatherings to be in a certain place, whereas your parents want it in a certain place. So there's this tug of war as to who gets to, host the family functions, who gets to be where. And it's almost like a popularity contest. It's almost like a test of loyalty. Where are you going to be, with your siblings or with your parents or with your stepmother or with your stepfather? So I feel like there's this dynamic here about somebody testing out your loyalty, and it's not really fair to you. So if you find yourself in that type of an environment, and you're very, very susceptible to wanting to please everybody at the expense of your emotional well-being. So I would say don't engage in that. Okay. Tell them, if it's like happening to you in a text message, tell them, you guys pick one place and I will be there, and then stop communication until they decide on a place. If the rest of that conversation is them just trying to bicker amongst themselves and not really deciding on a place, you do not need to engage, okay? Because I feel like you're in danger of wanting to appease everybody, wanting to, play the middleman or the person in the middle, trying to play peacemaker, trying to make everybody feel okay, trying to even overcommit yourself so that you can get to see everybody, so that everyone feels appreciated, so that everyone feels accepted and wanted and needed. And I feel like all of this is going to involve a lot of movement from your end, a lot of work from your end that you don't have the time, the resources, and the energy for. And as a result of it, you're going to be pulled once more in multiple directions because you're at the whims of other people and you're not making these, I want to say, like, decisions for yourself, for your own emotional well-being. Okay, so I felt this energy last year as well. And last year was also a major holiday season in the States. And I'm feeling this energy again. And, it's the New Year's and it's also Christmas for those who are celebrating. And even if you're not celebrating, I feel like there's a lot of family issues here. And I feel like they're testing your loyalty. They're testing, where you're going to go. And you don't need to get involved in this. This is very low vibrational type of bickering, and it's not really serving you well. Okay. You have bigger, better things to do, and you have more important things that you need to prepare yourself for. So aside from the family situation, what I do feel as well, and let me talk about exes, because that was a message that I felt coming through. I have here this person. So we have here the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands is a fire sign. So this is a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of communication and messages coming through from this person. And I also feel as well, we have another person, an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. So you have a fire sign and an air sign, both of which are exes. And there's going to be some type of a standoff. It seems like a standoff, two people coming at you very, very quickly. And there's this energy about confrontation, about like trust issues, as well as where have you been? I needed you. Or, you being nice to them, and then they might get the wrong idea that you want to get back together with them. So be very careful with your communication for this month, okay? Say what you mean and stick by what you say. So that means being very consistent with what you say and be consistent about the actions that are carried out. So if someone invites you and they're like, and it's an ex, do you want to join me and my family for the holidays, or me and my family? The folks are in town. You might have gotten along with them, but then the relationship is you're no longer together. So for whatever reason, I feel like you might not want to say no. You don't want to upset them. You don't want to cause a rift in the family. You don't want them to think of you in a specific way. And so you commit yourself. And I feel like it puts you in a touchy or like a difficult situation, because it's going to feel uncomfortable. And it's going to also, if you have these two people that you're dating or that are exes of yours, they might mistake your kindness for the fact that you might still have feelings for them. So be deliberate, be clear and very, very deliberate about, your feelings, your emotions, and meaning what you say, okay? Don't try to appease other people. It's going to create misunderstandings. And a lot of it is wishful thinking from their end, that you're still available, that you're still interested, that you still have feelings for them. And so it's unnecessary tension, and it doesn't need to happen. I'm also feeling Cancers. I feel like if you have this person here, and this is a fire sign, this is somebody that needs a lot of attention. Okay. I don't feel they're a bad person. This is a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. This is somebody you're in a relationship with, I feel, for some of you. And I know this is not meant to be a relationship reading, but it's coming out so strongly. I feel like they have suspicions, okay? And whether or not these suspicions are founded, they have a sense of a suspicion that you are not 100% serious with them. And so they're going to want that grand gesture. So this is the person that I felt earlier, somebody that might be very, very different from you culturally, ethnically. They might be coming from afar. And I feel like there's going to be conversations about, if you're at a distance from each other, you're going to hear a lot about them. And they're going to want some type of a solid, big gesture from you to move the relationship forward. And I feel like for some of you, you have so many other things going on for this month that relationship are going to be on the back burner. You might not have the time to communicate with, your loved ones, because family is going to be on the forefront. Career and work is also on the forefront. And as a result of it, this person feels like they need more attention. They need more affection. They need some type of concrete evidence that you are serious about them. They need some grand gestures in order to trust your intentions. And so moving forward, I do feel this is somebody that you might need to expend extra energy to, because they need something from you. Okay. And so the other thing that's really occupying your time, aside from family, we do have careers. Many of you, careers are really taking off. And it is also, the last month of the year where there is a lot of work that needs to be wrapped up, that needs to be revisited, that needs to be done, because it's the end of the fiscal year, right? So I feel for many of you, especially for those of you who are in a position of power, in a managerial position, in a position where you are, it's like you're in charge of your domain. You might be an office manager. You might be a program coordinator. You might be a program manager. You might be a supervisor. There's a lot of work in store for you, like, behind the scenes type of work, performance reviews, budgeting, accounting for how much money was spent, accounting for, I want to say, like, finalizing the budget for the next year, having everything kind of wrapped up because it's the end of the year. And as a result of it, there is a lot of work that's going to be just trickling in. And it's work that you feel like, oh, I think, it's going to be, I can take care of it in January or in February. I feel that it's going to be coming at you in December. Okay. And I also feel some of you, if you have plans to travel, you need to get all of this done. So it's like crunch time so that you can get all of it done, send all of it out, finalize everything so that you can move and you can travel, you can take trips, you can unwind, you can decompress. And if this work is not done, there is a lot of travel delays that are going to be in the picture. I also want to say as well, Mercury retrograde, not a great time to travel. If you are thinking about travel, try to do it, after December if you can. Okay. After absolutely after December 25th, but then moving into, January might be a lot better. So I feel like it's crunch time. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And then you're pulled in different directions by expectations from other people as well. So for those of you in a position where you have a lot of authority, a lot of power, there will be performance reviews where you are assessing and critiquing or analyzing the work performance of other people. And I feel like you also are in a position where you want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, where you are very understanding of other people's struggles. But if someone constantly comes in late, they come in late and they leave early, I feel like you see all of these things. And so you're going to need to be very candid and very truthful about performance reviews. Okay. Otherwise you're going to send the wrong message that this behavior is okay. And so I feel like you need to really, I want to say, we can't go through life pleasing everybody. We need to do the right thing. We need to call people out when they are messing up. And we need to hold ourselves to high standards of integrity as well. So you might have people working under you that you adore, that you really, really like, but they might not be good workers. So if you're seeing these things and you have to, pick up their slack, that's also going to be a problem further down the line. And so I feel like this is the month where we need to be very, very accountable. And I feel like the accountability is from your end as somebody in a position of power to tell somebody, you can't leave until you get that done. And yes, they might be a little bit sore, a little bit hurt. And if they, are like a friend of yours and you're managing them, I just feel like you need to really draw the line between, professionalism, between holding yourself to high standards of accountability. So that means doing the right thing, even if the messages are delivered, or needs to be delivered in a way where it might hurt somebody's feelings. Does that make sense? So you have lots of things that you need to take care of. And you're starting out this month redoing a lot of things is what I'm feeling. This is like redoing work, going back to a project, something that you thought was done. It didn't meet the requirement, or it missed the mark, or there was like an issue with doing things in a procedurally correct manner. Somebody might have cut corners, worked too fast, cut corners, and I feel like you're going to have to oversee it and you're going to have to redo it. And so whoever it is that made the mistake, you might need to hold them accountable. Okay. And I'm feeling as well, because of this heavy energy, this is like heavy workload, needing to bring work home. I'm also feeling as well that you might be, there might be a lot of traveling this month. Don't forget your items. Okay. And also be careful as well of theft. If you are parking your car, make sure purses, valuable belongings, especially laptops. This is usually somebody who's very abundant. They dress well, they look nice, they might have expensive jewelry, expensive pieces of clothing. And this is also like theft when it comes to like movement, especially like cars. So you need to make sure that you clear out your car before you park, or at least, lock your cars even so that you don't have stolen belongings. Okay. Once again, going back to this card, because this is quite important. A lot of work is piling up. Cancers, take care of your health. Get enough sleep. Make sure you don't underestimate the amount of work that is going to be coming in for the month of December. Hopefully you're watching this early on so that you can plan your time accordingly, because I feel like it's gonna be a time crunch. Okay. And I feel this possibly, the work might not get done until, after the, it might drag out into January if you're not careful. So if you have trips and things that are planned, I feel like it's necessary for you to get these things done so that you can move forward. I feel some of you, there is a publishing deadline. So a lot of things need to be submitted, and there is a very clear deadline, and it's not a flexible deadline. Okay. So get things done. There's a lot of things you need to get wrapped up. Okay. So you're going to be hitting the ground running this month. And I don't really like to see this for you, because I feel like you might get sick. You might feel under the weather. Work might be delayed as a result of ailment. So just be careful about that. Okay. I do see an area of pain, so like a pre-existing condition or something like that. And I especially see the left knee as well for many of you. If you have weaknesses in that area, just make sure you don't strain it. Okay. And if you're going hiking, for example, and that's a sore spot for you, have a hiking stick, or do something that can alleviate weight and tension in that area. For those of you who are into, winter sports, especially like skiing, I do see that aggravated, and I feel like it's cold weather related. Okay, so don't strain yourself. All right, take care, Cancers. I will talk to you soon. I feel like, the pentacles are not showing up here in this spread. So no news is good news, especially when it comes to you guys in finances. So I feel like this is just a month for you to get things done, wrap things up, and not be pulled in different directions. So be very, very deliberate and clear about what you want and communicating in a way that portrays exactly what you want. Otherwise, people will, misunderstand you.